pages 22 and 23 were the responses that we wrote from our solo walk. So right now, what I want y'all to do is to pair up, and same thing, we are going to have one group of three. So I would really, really like it if we paired up with someone who we haven't worked with yet this week, or someone who we're not really used to working with, because I feel like a lot of you all have some really best friends in this group. So let's try to hear someone else's idea and share some of the responses that we answered on our solo walk cards. Alright, so here are some of the cards that we had on here. If you're remembering, okay, I wrote this response, but I don't really remember, what was that question? What was the question to? Okay, so here are some of the cards. You can move around and see some of them if you would like. So go ahead and discuss some of the responses that you wrote to the questions around. So if we could put our pencil in between pages 22 and 23. You go ahead and close your books. We'll put our brainstorm ideas all in the middle. Thank you for signing them. Can you guys help me out? Thank you. Alright. So I really appreciate all the conversations that I heard, the people who are participating in these activities. I couldn't appreciate that more. So right now, we are going to read our two legends and then talk about our other one before we move into before we eat our cookies and move around a little bit, and then before we move into writing our own legends. Huh? Same size as yesterday.
Do we get one?
Yes. So, what would you like to hear first? The story from the Suquamish about the coyote, or the one from Costa Rica, when woman became the sea? Can I get a vote? We'll get a vote. How many people want to hear the coyote first? We're going to read all of them. One. How many people would like to hear when the woman became the sea? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then Felix, other one. What do you think?
Coyote.
Coyote. So 3 for coyote. Alvaro, which one? This one or this one? Red or blue?
Red.
Okay, the coyote. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6. Did you go, Ashley? Which one did you go? When the woman became the sea? Cool. We'll read that in a second. So, this one, when the woman became the sea. Now, before we read this, let's do a quick review. So remember that thing that we worked on earlier in the verb line? What were those 3 questions that we were trying to figure out?
The legend, the culture, and the lesson.
So, the legend, like what is a legend? What was the culture? And what are some values? So, what did we remember for what was a legend? Who remembers what was a legend? I heard someone just say something. So it's a story where some people think it's real and some people don't think it's real? Okay. That's what you said also. Or some other things. What was a legend again? All of your writing is right there. Go ahead and call on someone. Yeah.
David. A belief of somebody which was telling a story.
The belief of the person.
And they were either true or real.
Okay. So a belief of someone who was telling a story who thinks it's either true or real to them.
A story passed down by your family.
Story passed down by your family. values again? So not some of your own values, but what was a value again? Who thinks they can define that within your own words? What is a value? Listen. So something that is valued to your family or you? Someone like to add on or say something different?
I want to add on, and it's also like somebody having like something that somebody really wants to do for you, or like to do.
So it's something that they,
Family tradition.
oh, like a family tradition. Yeah, the values are the things that we really find important, right? So before we get into looking at the story of when the woman became the sea and looking at some values that the story talks about, I want everyone to take a big drink of water and then set our water bottles behind us. Okay? That was the end of that book. Do you think that everybody believes this actually happened? Not everybody? Some people?
No.
So after, what? It's not real?
Not even.
Do legends always have to be based in reality? No. So what, do you think that this was a legend?
No, this is just fantasy.
A fantasy? How is that different from a legend?
Because a legend is like someone who did something really good or famous, and then or like different from this and Jesus or God. Because this is just like fantasy, because the whole thing about Thunderman or something like that, and then her getting bit by the snake and being in the water, turning back to life into water,
Yeah.
and another guy creating a different thing, creating the thing with a different guy.
So this is a creation legend of like what some people believe of how the world was created. So I think, are you thinking of legend as like an actual person? So there's two definitions. Remember how we had up here when we were talking about legends of some famous, and then we also had the idea of the stories passed on by families and
That's like this.
yeah, totally. So I'm glad that you're making that connection. Alvaro, can I have you lift your head up, buddy? I know you're really tired. So what are some things that we think are important or valued from this story? Talk about it with people next to you. What do you think was important? Just take some guesses. Make your predictions. So we are going to write our legends, and then we are going to share them with the group. So right now, you could write your legend in English or in Spanish, and your legend doesn't really need to be spelled correctly because you are writing this just for you to be able to read it. All right? So on pages 22 and 23 are your brainstorm. Are you okay? Yeah? Do you need to go to the nurse's office? No, you're all right? No, I'm just joking. So, some of you might be thinking, I don't know, how do I write a legend? I have these brainstorm ideas, but I'm not really sure how to do it. So, eyes up here, and who can read number 1 for me? Thank you, David. Okay, so we're going to spread out. I'm going to come around and give you some paper, and as you're writing, you're going to come around, and I'm going to first go get some napkins, and then find a way to give you some oranges, all right?
Yay!